the vast majority of humans you created would end up in hell, why did you create them?
If you knew the vast majority of humans you created would end up in hell, why did you create them? God created us in his image, male and female. He created us. It's right there at the beginning. Why does he create us? Well, he's creating everything. It looks like he's creating everything in this garden, this perfect place to be for our benefit, for our enjoyment, a place for us to hang out with him. And that's kind of the ultimate goal, the overarching story of Scripture. Again, theological consistency as we look through the whole thing. It starts off with a garden, beautiful creation, unfallen creation, and then it goes back to that in the end. And since we rejected it, then there's kind of this like opt-in through the rest of it. Did you want in? Great. Here's your way in. Simple as this. Put your faith in me. If you don't want that, great. You don't have to have it. But to give people the option to choose to follow him, that's the thing. And you're saying, I don't like that that's how it works. But the reason he created us was to know him. God said, Genesis 1:26, then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. They will rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, the whole earth, and the creatures that crawl on the earth. So God created man in his own image. He created him in the image of God. He created them male and female. And so he blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, or oversee it on my behalf. And that's what in our image means. Let's put humans here as our representatives, as our image bearers in this world, as our signet ring holders, that they would represent us, that they would represent God throughout all of creation. So that's why we were created. That's how somewhat we were created and what the purpose is. God didn't create us for hell. We choose rejection of him, which ultimately is hell, or a destruction or death, and loss of life. I can think of a million ways that it's better, that life is better than death, and yet it's still there. And me deciding, well, why isn't there just not death? Doesn't mean there's no death now. This is the reality of how it works. If God created the universe, to an extent, it's his prerogative how it works. And you saying, well, I don't like that it works that way, that's literally the original sin, deciding that you have a better idea about how this goes than God did. That is Adam and Eve's sin. They rejected God's ways and chose to decide good and evil, to judge good and evil for themselves instead of accepting his way on it. And as creator, it was his prerogative to decide how those boundaries lay out. I mean, that absolutely makes sense. And it fits with the reality we live